Right. So, over the past couple of months, even way back in the last year, I have gotten an influx of messages on my YouTube, on my Skype, on my Facebook, on my Twitter, on Xbox. Just a bunch of questions related to CAW and my life and other things that people have asked me, and I've never really gotten a chance to respond to all of them because there were a lot of messages. So I took it upon myself to take the more frequently asked questions. When I say more frequently, I mean the most questions that got asked the most, and just make a list. So I got like 20 questions out of all of them, and I'm just going to answer them. So to save you time into asking me a question with a Q&A video, I'm just going to take all the questions that everybody ever asked me that I haven't responded to and just going to answer them. And with that said, this video might be really, really long. So pause the video, get a snack, get a drink, take a piss, whatever it is you gotta do, get that out the way now. Okay? I'll wait. Actually, no, I won't. Question number 1. What is your real name? Well, my first name is Nicholas. My middle name is... I hate my middle name. My middle name is Raymond, and my last name is Tagaloa. Go figure. Question number 2. When did you start playing WWE games online? Well, I first started playing WWE games online when I got my Xbox, and that was in 2006, I believe. And in 2006, that's when '07 came out. So that's when I started playing WWE games online. My gamer tag back then was really, really weird and stupid, and you couldn't read it. Back then, you know how people like to have letters and numbers spell out different letters and numbers with all the X's and I's and zeros to make it look pretty. My gamer tag back then was IXI space I2 Eason space IXI. And it looked like it said reason, when in actuality it didn't, because it had a number and a letter. Anyway, that was my gamer tag, and back then I used to play like such a noob. Like, oh, don't get me wrong, '07 was my favorite game, but online I was very competitive. I was highly competitive. And I was even in clans. I used to be in UTD at one point, but that was in 2009. I don't know if anybody here remembers I can't remember what it stands for, but it was UTD, and I remember Mind Own UTD and Oasis UTD and all the other UTDs. I didn't spend too much time in that clan because I wasn't worthy enough. But around 2007 to 2000 and say maybe 10, I was very competitive online. It wasn't until 2011 where I was like, you know what? Screw this. It's not fun anymore. It's stress. I've been being stressed out online for the past 3 to 4 years trying to beat people, knowing that you're better than somebody, but they are still able to beat you. And it just wasn't fun to me anymore. So I decided to switch up and try and play in a more realistic way. Question number 3. Where do you get your attire ideas? It depends. It really depends. Sometimes I can just be thinking about something. Sometimes I can see something. Sometimes someone can say something to me and it'll give me an idea. It all depends. But the base of my attires are very simple. Trunks, knee pads, boots, a glove. That's about it. But for the most part, my attires consist of things that I like, or things that I can see myself wearing if I were an actual wrestler, or things that some of my favorite wrestlers actually wore, and I would take that and twist it so it's not exactly the same, but it's similar and close enough to it so that you know that that's where I got it from. Sometimes I get inspiration from dead people, like Michael Jackson or Macho Man. Question number 4. How did you come up with your gimmick? Well, I don't have a gimmick. The character Nic Virtue is me. Little old me. That's pretty much it. Who I am in real life is who I am in the video game. There's no science to it. That's just the way that it is. The only differential when it comes to me being myself is whether I'm face or heel. And that that one can be a little bit tricky because I remember when I first went babyface, it was kind of like a new water for me because I was heel essentially all throughout the beginning of my CAW career, I guess, in AOW. And I got pretty used to being a heel. Being heel is very fun. I don't care what anybody tells you. Being heel is the best orientation because you can say whatever the hell you want. You can do whatever the hell you want. And there's no limitations. There's no restrictions on what you can do and say. So the possibilities are pretty much endless. But when you're a babyface, you can't say anything that you really want to say. You can't do anything that you would really want to do. But at the same time, you have to take what you have and make the best of it. So I learned to take what I had and make the best of it. I learned how to be repetitive and make it work. I learned how to not say bad words and make it work. And it took a little getting used to because like I said, I wasn't really familiar with being a babyface, but over time you get used to it. And I gotta say I'm quite fond of being a babyface, and I don't think that I'm gonna go back heel anytime soon. In fact, I think I'm gonna be babyface for the remainder of my CAW career. I hate saying that, but I don't know what else to call it. But yeah, I would have absolutely no problem with staying babyface for the rest of it. Question number 5. Why do you lose all your matches? That is a very good question. And first, I want to start out by saying that I do not lose all of my matches. Okay, I'm not a complete jobber. But the reason why I put more people over than the reverse is because I've never been into the idea of putting myself over. From the time that I started, I always put other people over because I wanted other people to see how good I can be by making them look good. Till this very day, I still do that. If I get into a match with you and it might be our first time getting into a match, 9 times out of 10, I have already decided in my mind that I'm going to lose to you because I want you to see how good I can be making you look good. And at the same time, it forces people to keep up with me. It forces the other person to show what they have and how good they are. And when you do that, you see more of that person than you do of myself because especially at this point, I don't feel the need to show anybody what I have because you've already seen it over the years. You already know what I can do. You already know what I do. So there's really no need for me to force myself into the match. And it also helps build on that trust, even if it is our first time meeting. In my opinion, it's that first block to building chemistry. You knowing that this guy has absolutely no problem losing to you. And knowing that would just break down whatever barrier there was to begin with. So that is why I lose the majority of my matches. Question number 6. Who is Isis? Isis, technically, she is my cousin. Her real name is not actually Isis. That is her middle name. Her first name I don't care to give out. I think I already have. Yeah, I already have. Her first name is Leanne. Her middle name is Isis, and her last name is obviously Tagaloa. Please don't go searching for her on Facebook. Hopefully she's not on Facebook. I doubt it's on Facebook. And even if she is on Facebook, that's totally not her name. But yeah, Isis is my blood cousin. And I got to a point where I was just getting tired of having one CAW, so I decided to make her. And a diva at that, because I don't see much divas online, well, on YouTube online, having matches. Moving on. Question number 7. Are you training to be a professional wrestler? If so, will you keep the name Nic Virtue? Another good question, and this question most people might not like hearing. No, I am not training to be a professional wrestler. At some point I was, but let me explain something to you. I am the type of person that no matter what I want in life, if my family or someone that I love or someone that I care about, if they need help, if they need me around to do anything, I will drop whatever it is that I have going on to help them. And in this situation, I don't care to give out details about what it actually is, But at a point in my life, I had to reset my priorities. I had to stop focusing on myself and focus on other people who needed help and who needed me around. And what type of person would I be if I said, screw you, I'm going to go do what I want to do in my life and leave you to fend for yourself? I would be pretty selfish. You might not agree with that way of thinking, and that's fine. But to me, I would rather not be selfish and be selfless and help other people that need help, instead of putting my own goals and my own selfish desires before theirs. And I'm completely fine with never becoming a professional wrestler. I am completely fine with not being exposed to countless paparazzis and media and having to wake up at this hour in the morning and not being able to sleep until the next hour in the morning and not being able to ever see my family until some other set point in time and not actually having a guarantee on if I'll actually make it. I'm perfectly fine with not throwing all my money and time and energy into something that is not guaranteed. At the end of the day, it was either choosing my family, my loved ones, the people that I care about, or wrestling. And I'm sorry, 10 out of 10 times, I will choose my family, the people that I care about, and the people that I love. That's just the way that it is. I love wrestling, but I don't love it more than I love my family. Moving on. Oh, wait, actually, no, I forgot to answer the second part. Will I keep the name Nic Virtue? If I became a professional wrestler, you better believe that I'm keeping that name. I would have no reason to change that name, and if anybody told me otherwise, then I'd tell them to screw off. That's one thing that I'm very prideful about, is my name. And if I were to become a wrestler, then yeah, I'd keep using it. Now, moving on. Question number 8. This question is going to just cause so much frickin' drama. But, oh well, who cares? Question number 8. Out of all the people in CAW, who do you think is the best wrestler? Who do you think has the most potential, and who do you think is the most overrated? I may or may not have a lot of fun with that last part. Anyway, out of all the people in CAW, who do I think is the best wrestler? Well, it's not really hard for me to say. First off, let me say that I don't watch everybody in CAW, so maybe there's people out there that are really good and I have no idea about them. But for the most part, the people that I've seen from the time that I've started to now, the person who has stood out to me the most, and the person who I can truly say gets it, is Scott Barnett. Scott Barnett, in my opinion, is the best wrestler in CAW. For a number of different reasons. There are so many things about Scott Barnett that separates him from everybody else, including myself. And one of the reasons why he is my favorite is that contrast between him and myself. And one of the things that I love about him is that we both know the things that would make a match more entertaining, more enjoyable to watch. And when it comes to psychology, we both know what to do and what not to do, when to do it and when not to do it. Things that not a lot of other people get or understand. Just the little things that he does in matches that not a lot of people pick up on. That is what separates him from everybody else. His psychology as well is just so far beyond the majority of other people. He knows how to start off a match. He knows how to escalate a match. He knows when and how to slow the match down. He knows when to pick it back up again and how to pick it back up again. He knows what to do, when to do it, what not to do, when not to do it. All of those things that tie into being a great wrestler, Scott Barnett has. All of those components. He has them. And another reason why I think he is the best wrestler, because he is always trying to learn different ways to do different things. We're always learning. We never really stop learning. We never really say, okay, we're the best. That's it. There's nothing else more that we can do to better ourselves. Even just recently, over the past couple of weeks, we've been trying to figure out how to mix in being fast and being slow, and how to get that pace down packed to where we can have literally a perfect match. People will look at us and say, okay, well, we don't need to work on anything, and that's just not true. Even the best of us can find ways to improve our game. And that is why I feel that Scott Barnett is the best wrestler out of all. Now, who do I think has the most potential? I would have to give that one to Joshua Phoenix. I wasn't around to see the beginning of Joshua Phoenix, but I was there to see him progressing. And I was there during that progress stage and seeing where he was and where he was going and where he is now. And I would definitely have to say that he has the most potential. And something about him that I forgot to mention about Scott Barnett is that they both love wrestling with a passion. That is one thing that separates them from everybody else, is that their pure love for wrestling. That is what drives them to want to learn how to do different things and want to better themselves. Even though they're not bad at all, their sheer love for wrestling just makes them want to better their game. They treat it in a way that a lot of other people, most people, don't treat it. Most people just treat it as a commodity. Scott Barnett and Joshua Phoenix, they treat it as if it were actually real. Even though it's a video game, when they play it, they treat it like it's real. And that is a component that most people don't have. And that is why I think Joshua Phoenix has the most potential. And who do I think is the most overrated? Now, I cannot give that title to just one person. I'm sorry. There are a lot of people who get praise from a particular side of this community, who I have seen work and who I have played with, that just don't deserve it. It's more or less a popularity thing. Maybe they cut the best promos, but when it comes to the work in the ring, I don't think anybody puts them on the pedestal. I don't think anybody says that their ring work is superb or that they love watching this person's matches because they perform. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully people are not clamoring over these people's matches, because in actuality they're really not that good. And without me saying names and being specific about things, let me tell you, let me show you how you can easily identify who these people are. If you have ever played anybody who does a specific thing, who specializes, quote unquote, specializes in a particular type of offense, and they do this every single moment in the match, all the time, move after move after move after move, is that particular style of offense, that person is overrated. That person cannot decipher that doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, even though it is a different move, but also a different type of move, they cannot decipher that it is not how you work a match. But let me give you an even more elaborate explanation. Let's say that I specialize in, punching, and I put all the punch moves in the game on my moveset. And I just punched you throughout the match from beginning to the end. Maybe I hit the rope one time, maybe I went to the top turnbuckle. But let's say the majority of the match I was just punching you with different punch moves. Would you honestly say that I know how to work a match because I do punches? No, you wouldn't. Because that is not how you work a match. If you know anybody that does these things, that person is overrated. Moving on. Question number 9. Why won't you add me on Xbox? Well, I don't add people for a number of different reasons, especially now. Now I'm more tight-lipped. I'm more, I quarantine myself. I cut myself off from a lot of people and a lot of people who associate with a lot of people. Ever since that stuff with my YouTube channel happened and my other accounts when they got hacked, I just quarantine myself. I have trust issues and I don't accept friend requests from people that I don't know, or that maybe you were on my friends list before at some point and you send me another one and I'm not accepting. That is because I don't trust you. Even though I don't know you, I have trust issues. After everything that happened, you can see why I have trust issues, can you not? Why would I want to delve into the rest of the community? Can you really blame me for having trust issues? Can you really blame me for not wanting to add each and every single last person who sends me a friend request to my friends list? If you send me a friend request and you explain who you are, and maybe I might give you a match, but if you know... Now here's the thing. Here's something very important. If you know that you are friends and that you associate and that you're buddy with those people that tried to fuck me over and you send me a friend request, do not expect me to add you. I'm sorry, just don't expect it. Like, put yourself in my shoes. If someone were to try and get rid of you, or try to censor you, or try to silence you, and go to unmeasurable lengths to do those things, would you trust me if I was with that person? Would you trust me if I were friends with that person? Would you trust me if I worked with that person? The hell you would. You would look at me in the same way that you looked at them. That is what shies me away from accepting friend requests from certain people or people that I don't know. You can call it whatever you want. You can say I'm a bad person because of that. You can say that I'm holding a grudge. But the reality is that when I move on from something, because this is what it is, I cut people off. That is how I move on. That is how I have been raised. When you don't want to talk to someone anymore, when you cut someone off, when you're finished with someone, you cut off everything. Let's say you have a disease in your arm, right? And it's starting at your fingertips. And the longer you let that disease sit, it spreads and it crawls higher up your arm. What would the doctor suggest you to do? Amputate. He'll tell you to cut your friggin' arm off. Essentially, that is what I'm doing. I cut people off. Not necessarily holding a grudge, because once I cut you off, I don't talk about you. I don't look for you. I don't play with you. I avoid you. You do not exist to me. That is how I move on. The way that it was before I met you is the way that it is now. And it was perfectly fine when I didn't know you, right? So I don't see what's the difference. Not everybody has to be friends. Everybody can't be friends. The world is not full of great people and honest people so that everyone can be friends. No. It's not that way. Moving on. Why did you join the power plant of all places? Well, I guess you can tie in the last question to this one as well. When I look around the CAW community and I see the leagues that are available, why wouldn't I join the power plant? It's just that simple. And don't get me wrong, there are some leagues out there that I would love to be a part of, but those leagues have mixed in people with the people that I am trying to avoid. Those leagues feature people who are friends of the people who I cut off. Like, I'm just trying to avoid that entire side of the community. I'm trying to stick to the people that I know and the people that I trust. And it wouldn't be a good idea for me to mix and mingle with other, feds and leagues and stuff. Even though they might generally be good people, I just have trust issues. That's what it all comes down to. I have a hard time trusting. And when it comes to the power plant, a lot of people give diehard crap. A lot of people do. Sometimes it might be warranted, other times, most of the times it's not. But when you really sit down and you get to know Die Hard, he's really not a bad person. I can honestly sit here and say that Die Hard is one of the most genuine people that I have met in the CAW community. He can be an asshole. I can be an asshole. Everyone can be an asshole at some point. If you push someone, they can be one. But generally, he is a good person. He is a decent person. I don't have to worry about Die Hard screwing me over. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about drama with Die Hard. And the one thing that I appreciate about him is that he is a man. He handles things the way a man would. I don't have to worry about him saying something to other people that he wouldn't say to me. And at the end of the day, I've known Die Hard for years, so I'm inclined to join the power plant out of all the other leagues. And one thing that I appreciated so much about the power plant in Die Hard is that when I joined, he stuck me at the frickin' bottom where I deserve to be. When I join leagues, everybody tries to put me in the celebrity category. They want me to host shows. They want me to main event with their top guy as soon as I join. Like I'm some superhero, like I'm some god. I appreciated it so much when I came in and he told me that I don't have to worry about being stuck in the main event. Like I can grind my way to the top just like I did in AOW. That is what I like. That is what I want. I want to be stuck at the bottom so that I can move up. I don't like having everything handed to me. I don't like being put in this spotlight that I did not earn yet in your fed. Yes, I might be a character on YouTube. Yes, I am in the public eye on my channel, but you don't have to let that be known on your channel. You don't have to let that be known in your fed. That is why people get negative backlash when they didn't even do anything. That is why people are sick and tired of seeing this person or that person, because when they join your league, you stick them in the main event, or you stick them in the mid card, or you stick them in this elaborate storyline with person A or person B. You don't let them build themselves. You just take them off their popularity status in the community and say, hey, do this. I want you to main event that and main event this. It sucks, and it shouldn't be that way. Moving on. Question number 11. What happened to EWE? Well, from the last episode that I made, like last year, I had some time on my hands to pump out that first episode. I had, I think, 2 weeks I had to myself where I can just focus on getting things done for EWE with adrenaline. And after that first episode, I did not have maybe 2 weeks on my hands to do another one. See, what most people don't understand is that when life happens, you have to attend to your life. I don't have countless hours to pump into making shows. If you have time to do that, that's fine, but I don't. And I find it pretty absurd that people get criticized when they don't have time to continue on with their show. At the end of the day, life is more important. And if I had the chance to do it all over again, I would do the exact same thing. If I have time to do an episode, I'll do an episode. If I don't have time to do another episode, I'm not going to do another episode. And ultimately, that is what happened to EWE. I didn't have time to continue it. Question number 11. Will you join the new CCE? No, I will not join the new CCE. Even though, I guess, well, from the stories that I've heard, it's some whole new thing with another person, and it's brand new and it's fresh and yada yada yada. But I am not gonna join it because it just feels like a hand-me-down. Like I wouldn't want to join a league that was run by this person that I want to avoid, and then some other person picked it up, and it was like, okay, everything's cool now. Like, no, I don't. It feels like a hand-me-down. I don't want to be a part of that. It doesn't matter who runs it. One of my friends could run that thing. It's as long as it's CCE, I'm not gonna join. Knowing whose fed it was, I'm not joining that. And then even if I did join, I would have to deal with people who were in CCE or who were in those other shows that I'm trying to avoid. And I'm just trying to stay away from all of that stuff. I don't need to be in a fed. I can do my own things by myself. I've been independent for the past couple of damn years. Before I joined the power plant, I've been independent since freaking... Damn, how long have I been independent? I've been independent since I left AOW. That is a long time. I don't count EWE because that's my own creation. From AOW to now, I have been independent. I haven't been part of any feds. It's been a long time. Anyway, moving on. Question number 13. Will we ever see AOW again? Some of you know why I'm laughing. But I'm not sure if I want to answer that question. I think I should leave that one alone. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Moving on. Question number 14. Why did you drop the Envy as your finisher? Well, some of you, well, very few of you know that before I had the shout out, JTG's finisher, the Sling Blade, I used to use a super kick back in Here Comes the Pain. And in fact, Here Comes the Pain was when I first started using the super kick. Because the super kick, the sweet chin music, the running sweet chin music was just so orgasmic. It was so perfectly done. The animation of that super kick was, in my opinion, the best super kick ever to be in a WWE game. And from then on to the original SmackDown vs. Raw, I was using it, and in SmackDown vs. Raw 2006, I believe they took it out like assholes, and then I just had to use the karate kick. In 07, I was using the karate kick, and in 08, I was using the karate kick. In 09, they took it out the freaking game and made it a running strike, and you could have it as a finisher. And then ultimately, I had to resort to using the friggin' Sling Blade, because I wanted my finisher to be a finisher that I can hit out of nowhere. And the Sling Blade, to me, was the only other substitute that I was happy with. It was flashy, you know, I can hit it out of the blue, so I ran with it. And now that they have another super kick in the game that I'm okay with, it's not the greatest looking super kick, but I'm happy that they just fall on their backs and don't do a frickin' backflip. the super kick number 4, Rikishi super kick. I'm happy with that one, so I've picked back up the super kick. Moving on. Question number 15. Will you ever cut your hair? Yes, I will cut my hair someday. In fact, I plan on cutting my hair before I turn 30, because I don't want to be in my 30s with long hair. I'm sorry, that's just not cute. The ladies dig long hair when you're in your teenage years, 20s, early 20s, maybe even your mid-20s. But when you get older, it's just like, dude, cut your freaking hair. I don't want to be 30, 40-something years old with long hair. No, come on. Moving on. Question number 16. God. Will the beef ever be squashed between you, Cameron Bash, Maxwell Verdi, and their friends? There is no beef. There's no beef. I don't talk to them. They don't talk to me, even though they talk about me quite a bit. I don't see a beef. I mean, all that stuff happened. It's in the past. I don't care. I moved on. And again, me moving on is cutting them off and avoiding them. There's no beef. Beef would be a back and forth kind of thing, and I'm not. When you see me going back and forth with them, they're there and I'm here. Moving on. Question number 17. If you were to retire from CAW, who would you want to go out to? That is a good question. From the very first time that I met Alexander Monroe in AOW, I knew from that point on that that was the person that I wanted to go out to. If I were to retire from CAW, that is the person that I want to put me out. Some people might say Ryan Cavallari would be a better choice, and I would have to disagree. Because if I were to go out to Ryan Cavallari, it wouldn't really be me going out. Because when you think about it, if I were to have a last match with him, there would be so many questions. There would be the question of, okay, will there be another one, or is this really over? There's no decisive way for me to have a match with Ryan Cavallari, and everyone will be like, okay, it's done. There's no more. Nic's done. He's not coming back. It's over. It won't be like that if it's against Cavallari, because people will be expecting. There's no way for that match to end to where people will know that I'm done. But if it's Monroe, nobody can question whether or not I'm done. There is nobody that I would trust with beating the crap out of me the way that I would trust Monroe to do it. There is nobody that I would trust with ending my career other than Monroe. There's nobody that can pull that off that I trust. The trust part is a very key point. There might be other people that can pull it off, but there's not many people that I trust with it. And in a sense, it's poetic justice, because a lot of people don't know that the very first time that I fought Monroe, there was no winner. The match got thrown out. If you go back and you watch the cage match, the very first cage match that I have ever been in, nobody won. Because Vernon Price came in and ruined everything. The match was thrown out. There was no winner. We could no longer go on. So the last confrontation between Monroe and Virtue, it would be poetic. Because now you know there will be a winner and there will be a loser. And the loser of that match would retire, being me. I don't know when that's going to happen. I doubt that's going to happen anytime soon. But when it happens, it will be Monroe. If he's still around. Hopefully he's still around. And another key aspect to that match being my last match is, when is the last time you've seen Alexander Monroe versus Nic Virtue? 3 damn years ago. Since AOW Last Stand, YouTube has never seen Monroe versus Virtue. Never. It has never happened again. And it will not ever happen again until A, I either retire, or B, we decide to come together and do another match. For YouTube. I've played him countless times between AOW and now. Countless times, but no one has ever seen it. Anyway, moving on. Where am I? Question number 18. How do you feel about the state of the CAW community? I feel a number of ways. Some people think that we need to come together and, be happy and hold hands. I don't see it that way. At a point in time, the CAW community was separated, and I believe that when it was separated, it was at its best. Because you had people over there doing their thing, you had people over here doing their thing, and you had me over here doing my thing. Everybody was happy doing their own thing. There was no unison. There was no coming together. There was no drama. Well, People had their own dramas over there, but there was no influx community drama. Everyone was off doing their own things, and I believe that it was better that way, and I believe it's better the way it is now. I'm over here, they're over there. If people want to be part of it, that's cool, but I think that I'll be better off separate. And a big part of why I feel that way is because people, the majority of people, especially people who are now coming into this, people who feel that they need some type of validation by being in a fed, by being in a league. People think that they need to be exalted and glorified and have some type of honor or fame or reach some type of achievement or win a title in a fed. People feel like they need these things, and it shouldn't be that way. I know there's nothing I can do about it. It's always going to be that way, but it shouldn't be that way. Whatever happened to people just having fun? It's not about fun anymore. It was at one point, when it first started, it was about fun. But now it's turned into this form of government. When you got the corrupt people at the top who don't really even know what they're doing, who think they know what they're doing and have some type of merit to tell other people how to do their job when they can't even do it themselves. And then you have the people at the bottom who think that they need to praise the people at the top and subject themselves to the people at the top when they would be better off going and doing their own thing. Everything is so political now. And the fun factor has just been thrown out the window, which is another reason why I separate myself. Because when the moment I stop having fun is when I'm done. When I'm not having fun doing this anymore, I'm done. That is another reason why I cut myself off, because it's just not fun. All of this, who deserves this, or who should do this, or who has the right to say this, or who's better than this, it's just not fun anymore. And it just opens the door for drama. The same drama door that everybody tries to avoid opening, but when they open it, it's cool because you're going against the grain and you're telling the quote-unquote truth. And that is another reason why I separate myself, is because people have this misconception of what is true and what is bullshit. If you cannot decipher who is being honest, who is being truthful based on factual evidence, then you, sir, have a problem. Is either you have a problem or you're just being a bad friend, because a good friend will tell you when you're wrong and when you have done something wrong. People have a hard time distinguishing truth from deception, and generally you can tell who's being honest from who's just feeding you bullshit. But sadly, most people can't tell. Most people are just blinded by, oh my gosh, this guy is famous in CAW, so I'm just going to believe everything he says without looking into things. But anyway, I'm going to stop babbling about that. Question number 19. Boy. Can you teach me how to sim? Yes, I can teach you how to sim, but I won't. And I don't think I ever will, because if you would just watch and study actual wrestling, then you would not need me or anyone else to teach you how to play simulation wrestling. If you would just take the time, the very same time that you're man-whoring, trying to get people to like you, or man-whoring yourself, trying to get people to accept you within their fold, if you were to take that time and learn how to do the very same thing you're asking other people to teach you how to do, then maybe you wouldn't need me or the likes of anyone else to teach you how to sim. I'm sorry, but that's just the way that it is. It is so annoying when people ask you to teach them how to do something that they can just learn how to do it themselves. There's no shortcuts in learning how to play simulation wrestling. If you love wrestling, you should want to learn how to do it by watching wrestling. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. I'm sorry for the person who asked that question. If I just went off on you, I'm sorry. But that's just how I feel about it. There's no way for me to sugarcoat that, and even if there was, I wouldn't want to sugarcoat it. It's best for people to actually study wrestling, to learn how to play simulation wrestling. And the last question, who are your best friends in CAW? I don't have a lot of friends in CAW, and I like it that way. The amount of friends that I have in CAW, I can count them on my fingers, maybe even in one hand. But I would say Ryan Cavallari is one, Monroe is one, Scott Barnett is one, Ino is one for sure. Doom. Not a lot of people know about Doom because he's Batman. He lurks. Ruben Carbana. Um, um, Andy, AC Arthurs. I would say, yeah, I would consider him a friend as well. Um, Alex J. Eric. I don't. Hmm. The thing about Alex, I haven't known him for a long time. I haven't spent too much time with him, but he's a very genuine person. I would consider him a friend. I haven't really been around him that much, but I would consider him a friend just because I know that he's a good person. Um, Die Hard, Tony, the one Die Hard, I would consider him a friend. Generally, people that I know that would be there for me if I were to ever need something from them. People that I know that will be honest with me, and if I'm wrong, they will tell me that I'm wrong, that they won't agree with everything that I say. People who I know are genuine and who thinks for themselves, and who can decipher right from wrong. No, I do have other friends. I have really, really close friends, but I don't consider them a part of CAW because they do their own stuff. But I also have associates who I might not necessarily consider my friend because the term friend is thrown around very loosely. I mean, I'm sure there's other people that I would consider friends, but they're not really clicking in my mind right now. But yeah. I don't know how long it's been. Hopefully it'll be under 30 minutes. Hopefully it'll be under 30 minutes. But yeah, this is the end of the video. Hopefully these questions don't come up anymore. Hopefully I left you feeling satisfied with my answers. Hopefully you've gotten a bit of a more understanding of how I feel about things or where I come from or what my name is. I thought that was obvious. But yeah, this video is over. Thank you and goodbye.